look at it to if they don't get it and they need to watch it again. Minjung, how about you record it? Because you know how to do it. You record it and send the link to the just the people who just the attendees. That's fine. Yeah. Let's do that. So 2 weeks from today, my expectation is the resist evaluation is done. And the whole list will come from Yuno. So Eugene will make sure they get the list. In the meantime, you study about how to do the resist evaluation. And yeah, so forth.
Got it.
Good. Shauna, are you involved in editing video clips?
Eileen's working on the double long interview, right?
Okay.
I
was
don't
working on Albert Curie's, and then Shauna reached out to me regarding like her helping out, and then I told her that I would send her over what I have so far, and then maybe like you could go over it and give me like some suggestions, and then we can like do a Zoom meeting or something and work on that part together.
Yeah, that sounds great. So Albert Curie, Eileen, you're working on it. Who's working on Vivian Panu?
Oh, we've not started yet, so we're going to have a Zoom meeting with all the like possible future video editors, and maybe I think we can start editing video for Panu and Persian within this week.
Okay. So I think it's best that whoever did the interview do the editing as well. And then Shauna can sort of get all the videos and edit like a second time, like, you know, like, is there something else you could do?
Okay, not the first version. Okay.
Or I don't know, maybe Shauna can take one project. Do you have bandwidth to edit? Maybe edit one from the raw file. Then
I have like trials from Final Cut Pro. I think I can use that to edit.
Yeah. Then maybe Shauna can also like do the Vivian Panu. How about that? Yeah. But again, do the Zoom meeting and, you know, make sure there's an
Okay.
every editing. Maybe Shauna, you could be on that Zoom call and then make a guideline. Whoever does it, follow the same guideline, the editing rules, and you know what clips to add in front and back and all that, so that it's in the same format.
Yeah, yesterday I talked with Eileen on some general rules or guidelines on editing video, so we can share that in Zoom meeting.
Make that in a Google Doc, share it as an SOP.
Okay.
So make sure you and Liam, you know, we need to have a deadline for each video. So the rule is each team will have an interview, one interview per month, each team. And my hope is that we have 4 teams doing interviews. And then you have 2 weeks to edit and post it in YouTube. But when you post it in YouTube, you'll post it in Instagram. 5 pictures, and then excerpts coming out from the interview. So that's sort of the rule. And the rule is whoever did the interview can also edit. And then Shauna can be the helper for the editing. Each piece. And Shauna, if you know a good healthcare provider or patient, caregiver you want to interview, feel free to interview from Korea. You can interview Dr. Minjung Kim too. You can
Yeah, I
interview.
have a camera. I'm down. I have a camera.
Yeah, you can. Who is there? You can interview Dr. Ine Kim, Dr. Yuno Kim. You can interview any of them, and they can share their stories.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because there are a few example questions. So, Eugene will send her, make an SOP of interviewer, right? And then sample questions and how to time it, what, all that. Share it with Shana.
Mhm.
The goal is everyone can be interviewer or program director, PD, and produce videos and pictures and excerpts. So it'll be this main YouTube and Instagram that will share our ideas. The whole point is to create a culture of encouraging each other, healthcare professional towards patients, caregivers, and patients. Yeah. So make sure there's a timeline, and then talk to Liam to make sure it's being followed.
Got it.
Yeah. I'm really hoping that we can have Albert Curie out by the end of this week.
I think we can. Eileen is working on it very hard. So do you want the final version with Korean subtitle as well? Because I think we need to help her in that part. So if you want final version with the Korean part, then I'll work on that too.
I think so. So who knows you? So we can still post without the Korean subtitle, but we can
Mhm.
add it later too, right?
Oh God, yeah,
Right? We can add it later. We don't have to take it down and put the subtitle and put it back on,
Mhm.
right?
right.
So once the English version is out, then you
Mhm.
upload it. But I want to take the
Okay.
final look at before you upload. So make sure you run it by me and then upload it. But I think Korean subtitle, we need volunteers. So let's have a volunteer sign up. So,
Mhm.
but it's going to be the rotating for, um, list. Um, I don't know who feel comfortable. Grace, you did one for the first one, right? My interview. Yeah. So maybe Minjong can help the second one. Can you help Minjong? Just translate English subtitle to Korean subtitle. It will be like 5-minute interview.
I'll give it a try.
Thank you. And then we'll take turns. Next one can be Seungmi. One can be Juhee and Eugene.
True.
And then we will circle back to Grace once, you can ask Lena to help too. So whoever can volunteer, I think that will be great.
Okay. So once I make a like rough plan, then I will invite everyone who are interested in and then share it.
Yeah. Very good. Okay. But Shauna, thanks for your help as always. And let's do Minjung Kim because she's also in Korea.
I don't have any updates. Yay!
Great.
He's
We
submitted.
can wait.
Submitted. The ball's not on your court.
Yay.
Congrats.
So I'll just listen to everybody. Thank
So
you.
so JAMA Oncology said they are interested, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. Did we say I hope they take it, but if they don't, did we discuss the next journal?
You gave me a list. I don't have it with
But
me.
maybe it was Lancet Oncology and I think we discussed it.
Mhm.
I think it's a good topic. And so I know Minjung, you're studying for steps, but Eugene O, just started a original meta-analysis looking at how transfusion can increase incidence of cancer. And we found out there are many papers actually eligible for meta-analysis.
Yeah, not that many, but a few, like literally.
How many?
So far, regardless of cancer type, I think we can sum up definitely more than 6 or 7 papers. But
Hmm.
if we divide like them into separate, like non-Hodgkin lymphoma or into the more specific cancer type, then probably 2 or 3 per each type, a few types.
Hmm. So I think we can do all cancer and then we can do by cancer type.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, you might benefit from Min Jung Kim's expertise in meta-analysis.
I'll definitely reach out to her.
Expertise is not close to.
So I'm just throwing it out there that maybe you should consult Min Jung Kim,
Will do. Yeah.
get some help.
Mhm.
What's interesting is I did not know there were many papers that can support our hypothesis, but there is. So there is that evidence. So there, yeah, I'm very excited as Eugene O is. So we'll do a separate meta-analysis, and anyone who wants to learn or help with meta-analysis can talk to Eugene O and spread the work
Mhm.
and divide the work.
True.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking about that. But yeah, Minjung Kim, make sure you go into the journal website, because I sometimes those email that comes to me go to the spam or something like that, so I don't get it. And keep us updated where we are. And you submitted the updated version to Sissy? Did you, no, the Worldong or
Yes.
right? Do you know when they announce?
The date on the website and the email were different. I think Grace might have
Grace,
seen
do you
two
know
different
when
dates too,
they
but I think it
announce?
was
Yeah, there was a difference between the dates, but I just assumed the later one. It was like the 27th or something
Of this month?
of April. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I hope all of our abstracts get accepted and all of you can go. Um, good. Okay, let's see. Grace, do you have update?
Uh, Not much. Dr. Yuno actually texted me and asked if I want to join in his manuscript with like him, Dr. Ina and Shauna. So I think I will be doing that as well. I'm planning on working on the variant classification project more. Since
course.
last time we only did a few, and now I'll pick up on that and then hopefully do like an extended analysis on the stuff. Yeah, and the pacemakers abstract was selected for ASCO, so I'll be working on making a poster for that with Dr. Liam. I'll be
Yeah.
calling him later today, so
Okay.
hopefully we'll have more progress on that. And
Yeah.
that's it from me.
Great. That's a great achievement. It's hard to even get an abstract only publication, but getting a poster at ASCO is a great achievement. Not a like I don't know, Junaira residents, fellows, it's hard for them to even get a poster at ASCO. So for undergrad to get a poster is a great, really good achievement. So congratulations. Yeah, and once you make poster, just work with Liam to integrate both abstract into a paper. So yeah, I mean, I feel like you have a lot on your plate, but still, I think it's doable. Once you get into medical school, it's hard to do both. So you have clear deadline before you get into medical school. Let's try to finish the projects that you're involved. And for the variant classification, yeah, still work with the same people, assign them more genes that they can do the same thing. Yeah, good. I think you're doing a great job there. Yeah. Any questions? No? Okay. Eileen, any updates from you?
So I talked with Dr. Eugene about like the video stuff. So I cut it down to I think is gonna be its final form. And then for captions, I like wrote everything out that was being said.
Uh-huh.
But honestly, I feel like if we tried to put in all the English captions, this interview might be a little messy because like there's just like a lot of like repetitive parts in a way. And I think when we did Dr. Che's video, it was like a little bit more clear. So it was like in that aspect. But what I did was instead like just put in captions for like the questions that I asked. And then another idea was there's a part where he like explains his cancer treatment journey, and then I feel like a lot of people who don't have the background, like even I didn't really know what he was trying to explain, like the double lung transplant and how, like why it's a miracle, like because he was a cancer patient. Like that aspect, I think we can like put in like a text box like at the top of the video, like the corner of the video, just explaining the situation first a little. I think that might be helpful. And then I sent over the video to Shauna just now. So I think once she reviews that, we can make edits together. And then, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just thinking because his case is so unique. Minjung, have you watched the videos of him?
The
Albert Curie's video, ABC.
Yep, all the links that
Yeah, all
shared
the
with
links,
us,
right?
I've watched all of them.
Would it be helpful if we can maybe get few seconds like clips from a news in between or something so that kind of grabs their people's attention? Kind of summarizes his story. We can't summarize it, but it's just his story was on the news and people really was inspired by it. Any thoughts on how to make that happen within our interview? Some people
think
put
we
like,
can
like
add in the beginning.
yeah, add in the beginning.
Yeah, like little snippets of like news clips that can like lead up to the actual interview.
I feel like the news clips, I feel like we might run into like copyright issues possibly if we're like taking theirs. So what if like we filmed Dr. Che kind of talking about it and added that in? I don't know.
But how do we, let's say if it's just like 5-second ABC News, that Northwestern did double lung transplant, and here's the story, and then Albert Curie comes, and then we stop there. It's probably like 6-7 second. Is that still a copyright if we put it like ingrained into? I don't know. I mean, we've looked at it. I don't know how others do it. Because wasn't there like a time limit? I try to do this with K-drama in my talk and I couldn't do it. Eugene knows that, but
Yeah, in any case, I think it's safe for us to get permission or ask in advance. That would be helpful. So yeah, just in case if there's some regulation.
I know the rule is if it's NGO, if it's not used for profit,
There's an exception.
then you don't need
Okay.
permission. I don't know, you can ask for, I think doing, I can get, so I can personally get permission from Northwestern media team. Because they
Oh,
made a
that would be
video,
nice. True.
so I can do that,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know how to do that through YouTube, but I think it's better to use ABC News than our
Yeah.
own Northwestern advertisement video.
Mm,
So this is my suggestion. If I think if you use like 5 seconds, like really short, like just the first anchor's comment, and I don't think there's gonna be an issue. If you do that and upload it and because YouTube has an algorithm to detect it, and they will forbid you from uploading it even. So
okay.
if that few second doesn't prohibit you from uploading it, I think it's
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah, I will look it up.
So maybe look into that and see if that's doable. The ABC News link. I mean, if you type Northwestern ABC double lung transplant cancer, it will come up. The video will come up, and you can download the YouTube file and then cut it and then add it to the Albert Curie's file, and then you can look into um,
The regulation or
regulation
yeah.
regarding it, and if there's a
Mhm.
time limit, uh, anything like that. Mm. And then if you can't do ABC, I will get permission from NM Media, and we'll use that as a plan B. And
Okay.
I think putting that small clip in front will help people to grab, you know, help to grab people's attention.
Could I
Mhm.
just add on? I just researched,
Uh-huh.
and I think if you cite them, it's gonna be okay. Because it says news are copyright protected, but under the American copyright law, there is place for fair use. So if you use it for like criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research, it's not an infringement of copyright. So I think as long as we cite it well, it's most likely okay.
Yeah. So let's proceed. Thank you,
Thank
Judy.
you.
So Eileen, are you able to download YouTube file?
I should be able to, right?
Yeah, there is program which allows you to download YouTube videos, and then you can cut and just add. I think the first comment, not the whole thing, but the first few seconds about the anchor and the story and the that this was actually done in Northwestern, that will be good enough. Yeah,
Okay.
good thought. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And then you're working on a variant classification with Grace. So both of them, divide and conquer, and let's plan to get it done before the end of your semester. Okay. All right, good. Okay, let's go to Seungmi.
Right. Um, Let me just screen share. Hmm. Yep. So what I have been doing is I've been going back to the data and just check if there was any updates and try to so what I did, try to see if there was anything more than what we discovered for the abstract. And yeah, so what I added was I went through the EGFR mutation again, because there's like different types of EGFR mutation, and we just did yes or no. So I went for like what type of EGFR mutation they have, and what I wasn't sure about was if there's EGFR, if they just said EGFR amplification, I wasn't sure how I was supposed to interpret this as.
So EGFR amplification is not mutation.
Oh,
Yeah, so I would only record the ones that are functional mutations. There
yes.
are sometimes EGFR mutations that are variant of unknown significance. So I would not record those as well. So just the ones. And then
Yeah, so I did.
one, two,
here.
3, you recorded them. Those are fine. Those are fine.
And yeah, the ones which weren't these, I searched them on the website to see if they're functional or not. So and if they were actually had evidence backing up for
is the
lung
third
cancer. This
What is
one is the one I couldn't find anything on the internet, so I just left it as it is.
Where
So
did that
let me
come from?
wait. It came from, sorry, it came from the actual cancer sample.
Do you know what test?
If it's put here, then it's the NGS from the actual cancer and not none of these. None
Oh,
of
you
these.
like from Northwestern in-house?
Yes.
I see.
Let me just search for it again. So if I search for it, like I couldn't find anything. So I'm assuming it's not significant.
Grace, can you look this up? Can you put it in the chat box so people can search it?
Yeah.
Is it a deletion?
It looks like.
Um, I can try.
Thank you, Gray.
But wasn't there in My Cancer Genome? No, was it a different gene?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Because it comes up in My Cancer Genome.
Oh.
That just says there were 5 cases.
Yeah, my cancer genome doesn't really have information on it. ClinVar, I couldn't find anything. Like ClinVar usually just gives me like the like not the deletion insertion stuff.
Hmm.
Cool.
What would be an ideal way for me to search this? Just through Google, or as I did before, or use something like My Cancer Genome?
Usually ClinVar, but for deletion, Grace, what's your experience with other algorithms? Any of those look
I
for
usually didn't work with them, so I'm not sure.
for deletions, right? It was the point mutations, right?
Yeah, we just like completely disregarded them.
Yeah. But I can't even find them in CBio. Can you find them in CBioPortal? This one? And a gene in lung?
Should I take out small cell lung cancer or just do everything in lung?
Just do everything and see what comes up. So yeah, it's important to know whether if its deletion is likely to be functional,
Oh,
but I don't know in what exon this is. Maybe we can find that out. Yeah, Grace, you can keep looking for it for us, but you can continue.
yeah. So I try to find out other known uh, gene mutations of clinical significance, and there wasn't actually that many for these patients. And so there was a few only with CRAS, and this is not a functional one. So it's just me trying to find anything that we could report that is significant or interesting. And then I went again to, this would be in-house, or there was a few who did it in a different hospital where they got the surgery, just one or two, mostly in-house. And then clinical significance, potential, and unknown. So I guess these are kind of covered on the left. So the ones with potential clinical significance, I'm not really sure how to use this data in any way, but I do have them here. And then there's the ones with unknown clinical significance. And then I had Guardian, Thames, and Altera. I just put every single mutation they were able to find in here. And I actually do have a question. Sometimes even in Northwestern, people didn't have their cancer analyzed, like the gene mapped, sequenced. And then would you be using Altera as a reference to give them treatment, or even Tempest and Guardian? I was wondering, this is kind of a clinical thing, but
Anything. I would.
anything.
Yeah, anything with positive result. I would use it.
Yeah, there was just a few patients, and then yeah, I was wondering about that. So do you have any advice as to how I could use this data for this specific 논문?
So you would use it. I would use it for a supplemental table.
Mhm,
The people would want to know
mhm.
what mutation they had. So you could yeah. I wouldn't put it as Garden Tempest Altera. I would just put it
No.
from tissue NGS and from blood NGS.
And I was wondering what was the significance of the percentages, like, or would it be different for each mutation? Because like I wrote it in, for these ones, I wrote it really in detail, like including the percentage. Should I put that in the chart also?
No, I think you can skip that.
Okay. Yep. And the other thing is, I spoke to Eugene about, I think the raw data is pretty much done. Oh, the one other thing I tried to do was see if they had any other cancer. Like these people are the ones who had disease progress. So I just tried to see if they had any other cancer, and there were quite a few women with breast cancer who did not have disease progression. So I thought, like, I don't think I could find anything significant to report there. And the other thing was nothing pretty much to obtain in terms of Signatera data. There were people who got Signatera data. Yeah, so I'm just trying to look for anything else. And Eugene says she will help me with multivariate analysis. So we will probably be doing that. She said she'll help me doing that like very soon.
Okay.
And I have just continued to read a bit more papers, so I know what kind of expectations, what kind of writing is a good writing. And
Yeah.
I do want the one other thing is with Signatera, with the papers I read, they mostly very timed their they timed their ctDNA when they obtained it. So it would be like a certain period before and after. But I realized for us, because of like realistic reasons, we have to like we do when the patient comes in, which so is there anything you could help me like when I write about it? Should just write it as it is, like
Uh, what is your question?
my question is that actually I'll have to talk to Eugene more about it before I could organize my thoughts on this part.
Yeah, I think we need to talk a little bit more to specify our further analysis. And my question would be, Dr. Shade, the number is a little bit small, right? So do you think you can include more patients, like, or just do further analysis with this patient, like we did in abstract?
I mean, since the abstract, I think
Mhm.
more people got tested.
True. But I'm not so sure about how I can find that newly potential candidates.
Seungmi knows. Seungmi got the data.
Oh,
So Seungmi knows the contact in Natera.
okay, yeah.
You can just
Oh.
email them and let them send you the new list after the last patient. They'll give you the patient who had, you know, the new tests done.
Mm.
Right, so not the like the one with the almost 100. We took out everyone with the curative intent without not curative intent, and then we were left with 27. And then excluding all of them, there were new patients, like totally new patients. Is that what? Yeah, okay, I got it.
Yeah, so we're
Mm.
still going to exclude non-curative patients. But since the last list that we got from Natera, we have at least 10, few patients more. So you get the whole list anyway. You'll screen out the non, you'll still, the list is still important because we will someday, and I talked to Arnie about this, not like a metastatic cases. However, for for curative intent patients, we can get you more and add to your case, which that will take time though, because you'll have to do analysis all over again. But still, I think it will make it stronger. And then
True.
also, since the last abstract, we have longer follow-up time. Some people got more, and then they'll have more longer follow-up, which will strengthen your data. So I would get whatever, I would also check your patient's chart to make sure there isn't any new. And the
Yeah.
way I would check is, so there, I think Natera has a website for physicians to log in. So we can't rely on my own people to get the fast outcome and then scan it and put it on Epic. There's a time lag there. So we have to go in and then check it for ourselves, because I can check my own patients. Perhaps I can get the patient list this way.
I would really appreciate if I could get the access to Natera, because with Tempus, like that was possible, and sometimes I got a little bit more data, and it was just easy to navigate and update. So if there was a,
So
it
maybe
would be great.
send me after this lab
Mhm.
meeting, we'll sit down together and talk to them to create an account and get things through their website.
Nice. Yep.
Okay. Let's do that. But the goal is before you leave Chicago, everything is submitted.
Yep.
Okay. So start writing, and then did we decide what journal? What journal?
I think the one due August is the
What journal are we aiming for? Did we ever discuss it?
no,
No?
yeah.
I think we can aim for JTOCRR. JTOCRR.
Uh-huh.
And it's a very short report.
Mhm.
So you don't have to write long. It's very short. So you can really write it in 2 days.
Oh,
Start writing.
yeah.
Well, you'll get more data, you'll do the analysis, but you already know the conclusion. So I would, if I were you, I would start writing introduction, results, everything right now. I wouldn't wait for the results.
Oh, actually, Julie has helped me write. Julie has written most of the introduction and methods. Of course, like with the methods, but it's not something we could show to you just right yet because we have to refine it. But we have an introduction and method written down.
So when you're
And
done,
Julie has written most of it, yeah. And I have to edit it.
yeah, so when you have the final version for each section, you can show it to the group and I will edit it with you during the lab meeting. Okay. Don't wait till the last minute. Okay.
Okay.
But it has to be the publication quality final version.
I see, understand.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then we have to finalize what tables, what's figure 1, 2, 3, what's the supplemental table 1, 2, 3. So this is time for you to say, this is our going to be, even if you don't make the figure yet, we have to discuss and finalize what's going to be the table, what number of tables and figures are allowed in this CRR format. So make sure you discuss it and make those tables, if you can, by the next meeting.
Okay.
So next week, because I'll be attending the AACR conference, we won't have that meeting. So just keep on working on your project. And we'll have our next lab meeting in 2 weeks. Okay. All right, very good. Anything else to me?
Nope, but I am feeling more comfortable with research.
Okay,
And
good.
okay, thank you.
And did you interview Vivian?
Me?
Who
Oh,
did you
I
interview?
interviewed Paul, Sean, and yesterday me and Eugene and Eileen met up, and we discussed the editing of the videos. So we have like a format, and we're gonna have, and Eugene said we're gonna have a Zoom meeting where Eileen and I think someone else who have experience with editing will explain how to edit and record that and save it for future editors. And I will probably be doing Paul Sean's after this meeting.
Yes. So after you edit Paul Sean, and you can talk to Shauna, she'll help you. Yeah, let me know how it goes. And we have few more people we want to interview. Vivian Panu. She had amazing story. Grace was there with me yesterday. I want to share it with the group. Grace, can you tell people what happened to her during her journey? How she found a buddy?
Yeah, I just need to leave in like 8-ish minutes, but I think I could get it in by then.
Yeah.
So she was talking about how like her daughter, when she first moved to their town, like she made a friend who was like a lot younger than her. And then they realized that both their mothers were diagnosed with cancer. Her friend's like mother had non-Hodgkin lymphoma, and she herself had like cancer as well. And then the daughter started like making a prayer group at school, and they started like praying for each of their moms. And like it was nice because like it was like a good support system, and that also brought the two mothers together, and now they're good friends who like helped each other. Like when Vivian was having a hard time, the other person maybe was feeling better and would like bring her food and flowers and stuff. And when Vivian was better and the other person was not feeling great, then Vivian would go over and like cook for her and stuff like that. So it was like a nice thing. And there was like another girl at the school who didn't really have faith, but then like saw the prayer group and like wanted to join. And then her mom also ended up getting diagnosed with breast cancer. So like it was like a whole community formed. Yeah, and it was like a pretty wild story.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So moms didn't know each other, but then through their daughters who formed prayer group, they became friends. And like these first two moms were admitted in the same Prentice building, and they would go, they knew they were admitted on the same building, and they were, supporting each other. They were on phone together a lot. And it was just amazing to see that bonding started from their daughters. Yeah, so it was a beautiful story that Vivian shared with us, me and Grace yesterday afternoon. So I just wanted to share. And then she wanted, I told her, you have to write this story. It's a beautiful story. You have to write it in your essay. We do interview with you and your friend. Actually, she wanted us to interview that friend. Was it Kelly or? So I said, if she's willing, we'll interview her. So she's on like next in our list, her friend. Yeah, but what a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing, Grace. Okay, we'll go to Juhi.
Okay, I'm just gonna so we have got started on writing out the case report. Eugene has been writing the introduction for it.
Oh, I can't hear you well. So is it maybe a
Oh, is it
microphone problem?
the thing is this? Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got this is the case report. And on Vivian Panu actually. So we got it started, and Eugene has been writing the introduction part, and then me and Arnie, we've been working on the case presentation, and we're gonna try to finish up introduction and case presentation soon. and then go on to discussion. So it's not going to take super long, but I feel like we won't get much work done during the conference week,
Yeah,
which is my concern. But otherwise, it should have been done pretty easily, like before, like
yeah,
sometime next week. But I think it's going to get lagged a little.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would say conference is the best time to get work done. I always,
Oh,
get.
but I wanted to get the review thing done during the conference instead of this
Oh
case.
yeah, yeah, no. The
Yeah.
review is, I think, more important.
Yeah. So,
But I think Vivian is really interested in knowing when will come out.
oh yeah, yeah.
She
So
was
I guess
asking
once
me,
we're
where is it come out?
okay. So I guess once we're done with the conference, we can get this done pretty quickly. Um, because like the bulk of it is done, and we'll try to research on the discussion portion during the conference, but we won't really write it up. We'll just like
Yeah.
research on like other cancers with like, the issues to discuss during discussion.
Other cancers with effective immunotherapy? What do you mean?
Uh, I think that's what we were talking about like the roadmap for the manuscript. Like that's one of the things you mentioned. So I just put it down there,
Other cancers with
like how immunotherapy is working with other cancers, and then like move on to talk about how immunotherapy is working with thyroid cancer in general, and then wrap up our case. I was thinking about like 2 paragraphs for discussion. Just like a brief overview about immunotherapy in general.
Yeah, so let me give you, it's good, this is all in recording. So
Actually, can we talk about the whole backbone again, if that's okay with you? Like, just to make sure I got the overview right.
yeah,
So, introduction, we were talking about the 2 unmet needs. The
mhm,
first one was gonna be an anaplastic thyroid cancer, like BRAF is a targeted treatment, but which is already FDA approved, but like we're looking at the treatments after that. So that's like the first unmet need. And the second one is they're trying out immunotherapy. And we were gonna mention your oral presentation, and then we're gonna say after that immunotherapy, like what other treatments we can look at, which is why we think our paper is important.
yeah, that
And
was
that
the AACR oral presentation. And there are more papers you need to cite. So any paper that talks about immunotherapy working in anaplastic thyroid cancer, you should mention and cite.
yeah.
So going back to the BRAF, I think about, I can't remember, about 20% maybe has BRAF. What about 80% who doesn't have it? And also those 20% BRAF only works for a few months. And you can cite that as well. And and then almost all of them will experience progression after that short period of time. What happens after that? But it's that majority that does not have BRAF, they don't have any targeted therapy options. Chemotherapy usually does not work well. Immunotherapy may work, but it's small percentage of patients who will benefit from immunotherapy, and we don't know who they are. Even if they work, they could be short-lived as well. So what happens after that is another issue. But in general, anaplastic thyroid cancer lack many treatment options. They're usually considered resistant to any standard of care therapy, systemic therapy options. So that is why we need to, develop more targeted therapy options, more combinatorial therapy options, combining targeted therapy as well as immunotherapy together. So this is important because this is temsirolimus plus nivo-ipi. It's like 3-drug combinatorial therapy. And this is first report to show that it can benefit people. But don't limit to temsirolimus, which is mTOR inhibitor. You can talk about PI3 kinase mTOR pathway in general, and you'll have many different PI3 kinase inhibitors, alpelisib, and so forth. There's many PI3 kinase inhibitors. There's many mTOR inhibitors. The most famous one is the everolimus. The Finitor is the brand name. Everolimus is the most common mTOR inhibitor that is used. And I believe there is a case report that talks about mTOR inhibitor working in anaplastic thyroid cancer, but it was the TSC gene mutation, not the P10 mutation. So it's a different, yeah. But you can talk about whether mTOR inhibitor has been really explored as a targeted therapy option for anaplastic. The data is really limited, and if you can't find anything about P10 being a target, then you can say this is the first one to demonstrate P10 as a potential target for anaplastic thyroid cancer. So those are the big points, and you can go to inclusion discussion part. Let me give you the discussion, and you can always go back to the recorded session. My comments will be very similar. You go back to the discussion. So I'm not sure what I meant, what I was talking about when I said other cancers. So the whole point is immunotherapy is a big breakthrough for all solid tumors. However, it usually works for what we call so-called immunogenic tumors. And anaplastic thyroid has not been, considered immunogenic until now, where we're getting more data, including my own oral presentation, how combinatorial immunotherapy can work, and if it works, it can cause durable response. But it doesn't work forever, and we need to sort of have a plan for these treatment resistant patients, tumors, and that's where P10 targeted therapy utilizing temsirolimus comes in handy. And then the combinator, I do think there's a preclinical evidence for synergy when you combine PI3 kinase mTOR pathway inhibitors with immunotherapy. I think that pathway inhibition can touch not only the cancer cells, but it can touch the T cell regulation, T cell biology, and overcome T cell exhaustion, and making the immunotherapy work better. So there's deep that immunology biology behind that combination. It's all preclinical, but that's why people are doing a lot of clinical trials targeting, looking at the combination targeted therapy plus immunotherapy, which is in line with what we discovered with this patient. So what is the real a rationale behind combining the mTOR inhibitor plus the immunotherapy? And I think we can't say for sure that the mTOR inhibitor worked. Was it just 100% targeted therapy effect, or was there a synergy with immunotherapy? We will be never able to tell that for sure, because we don't have control. This is just case N of one, but still, I think we can talk about potential synergy. We can talk about P10 being a good target, and whether it's even if it's not anaplastic thyroid, if we can find any case report or any preclinical data that says P10 could be a target, even in well-differentiated thyroid cancer, people used everolimus or temsirolimus and showed a benefit. I think that's a good article you can cite and lead the discussion in that paragraph, in that way. But I feel like it's likely going to be the first case in anaplastic, because anaplastic thyroid is so rare, and discovering P10 mutation is also rare. It's rare of rare, but still, we have an evidence that with this drug there can be a deep and durable response. And her recent scan came back really good, so I feel like it could be durable. But by the time you submit, just check on her last scan and make sure your durability and response is updated. But even without durability, let's say her next scan shows progression, it was still a deep, meaningful response with a significant clinical improvement. Like, she was in pain, she was like bedbound, going to hospice, and with this, like, she's back on her life, traveling with her daughters. So this is we call it Nazareth reaction, like, coming out from the dead. the so when we see any chemo working miracle, we call it Lazarus reaction or response. So that's what she's gone through. She's a totally different person, lively. So I think it's still worth reporting her response.
Okay. And another thing, I've been writing it
I can't
out.
hear you well.
Okay.
Maybe
I've been writing out the manuscript, and then I was looking at figures. I guess I could talk about this later.
yeah, no, we can talk about it now because we
Okay.
plan
So
things
I
now.
was looking at it, I was writing it out, and I was thinking through the figures that I could that could be made. Um, Histologic finding, if we could find the
Yeah,
slide.
what you can do is, I know the slides are in outside hospital.
Yeah,
It's up to you, or Eugene.
it looks nicer than
A lot of times you could find the pathologist who read the
um,
the first, diagnosis, and then you could call, email, whatever. Sometimes you can just call the hospital and page that doctor. That's what I do. And say, hey, I'm Dr. Juhi. I'm writing this case. I want to invite you as a, sometimes you have to invite them as a co-author. Otherwise, there's no
okay.
motivation to do it. Sometimes you can tell them, you know, without inviting them, you can tell them it will be really helpful. And if you can send it to my email, the JPG file of that histology figure, we want to acknowledge you in our paper when we get it published, and we'll send you the manuscript once it's published. Usually do that. And if they don't move, maybe you can invite them as a co-author. But you could do either way, but I would just say acknowledge and send you the article once it gets published. But we really want you to help us get the figure so that we can get this case out in the public space. And this just tell them this was a beautiful case of P10 targeted therapy working. And then that will sort of, ignite some interest on their end. Because their pathologists are also interested in molecular aspect of disease. So I would do that. And whether they're in Northwestern, outside, you could still reach out to pathologists and ask for their, help. So you can do that. And if you can't get a hold of them, that's it. You don't do it. Just stop and we'll do it without figures. Do what you can, and if you find a someone who's willing to work with you, do it. If you can't, don't spend too much time.
Okay.
Okay.
So I will try to, I'll reach out and see if I can find the primary, when she got diagnosed. If
Yeah.
not, like, I'll just do without it.
Yeah.
And then the second figure, I was looking at the baseline figure that I want to use for the whole, presentation, I guess. The CT figure from April. So I was thinking I'll put that separate from the other figures, because like that was gonna be the baseline. For all
So
the
this is my
CTs.
suggestion. Fuse figure 2, 3, 4 all together, because that's
Wait,
how
all of them? Because
all of them.
CT, PET, and then I guess it's back to CT. I
Yeah.
guess.
So it will be like a figure 2, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and
Oh wait, figure 4 has like until F.
mm,
Or should I just don't do some of the figures, like some of the CT scans?
oh, so you have it. So what I would
Like every
do is
every
just
time there was a therapy, and then I was gonna do like a figure that showed progression
no.
or stable or
one idea for one case report. So this is
okay.
so I would do, okay, so this paper is unique. There's exception to this rule because Nivo-IP did work for her, right? Nivo-IP did work for her. So I would say how Nivo-IP itself worked
Okay.
and progressed. So I would say before and after Nivo-IP, with representative lesions, it could be 1, 2, 3 lesions whichever, it could be 2 lesions,
Okay.
before and after, and you can
Yeah.
put before PET or, doesn't matter. But
Okay.
what reviewers expect is before and after Nivo AP. Nivo AP did work for her, and it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a serial ones, just after treatment, the best response you can get. So the
Okay.
before and after Nivo AP, and then you can put, because there was progression after Nivo AP, and then she tried different things, but still before temsirolimus and after temsirolimus.
Okay.
So
Okay,
you,
that makes it easier. Thank you.
yeah. So that's like before after, and you can also make that in one figure, but see what you get, and it could be either 2 figures because it's before and after.
Yeah.
Maybe it's better to do 2 figures. Yeah, let's do it 2 figures. It might be a little bit
Okay. Okay.
confusing if you do, yeah.
I could
And
do
then,
like A and B, I guess.
pardon?
I could like put it as like A and B figure, some figure 3A, figure 3B, something like that.
I can't hear you well. I think you need microphone.
Oh. I could put it as figure 3A, figure 3B,
Yeah,
or do you want like actual separate? I guess it doesn't matter, but like,
yeah. I mean, try it in different, yeah,
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
makes more
Okay.
sense.
Yep.
And
Makes
yeah.
sense. What about the PET scan and the MRI? Did you still
Why
do
do
you
you need that?
I just wanted to do the PET scan originally because I just wanted to show meds. Cause like figure 2 and 3 are the baseline figures. So when she was um diagnosed with the fact
Yeah,
that she got like
we don't have the post pet, right? We've did
uh
done it one time, right? So
I don't think so.
yeah,
So no.
uh, so oh, did we decide on the journal?
I think so.
I think
Yeah,
so.
this one. JCO Physician Oncology.
Okay,
So
so
what
look
was
at
it?
their supplemental figure or table requirement. I think we can put it as a supplemental figure.
Supplemental figure?
Mm.
Okay.
Both of them.
They didn't?
Mhm.
Okay. I'll double check, but as far as I remember, they didn't have like a set requirement.
Yeah, I think it's fine. And when you make the figure, make sure you erase any identifier.
Yeah, the identifying stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you get a good resolution for screen
Mhm.
capture, and yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, and I was wondering, if wait. One sec. Also, the MRI images were the images that were gonna show her meds to her facial bones and to her like spine, but do you
Yeah, you
think
don't
that
need it. It's too
yeah,
much.
okay, okay.
And
Do you want it as supplements or like not even supplements?
you don't need it. Number
Okay.
5.
I'll
And
do 5.
I think the
And
baseline, if you have a pet, I'm not sure if you need another CT as a baseline. So I don't think you need figure 2
oh,
even as a supplemental.
this one?
Yeah, figure,
Okay.
yeah. And then the genetic values, the P10, so she doesn't have only P10, but has other mutations, and in the variant allele frequency and all of that, and how they changed over time.
Yeah. Because I was writing it out and then it just got very confusing for people to read because it's just all numbers all the time. So I was wondering if like having a figure would be very easy for the readers to like note the change.
Yeah,
And she has like a bunch of hormone stuff going on too.
yeah,
So like I felt that arranging everything in like a table would look good and help the readers understand what's happening to her.
Yeah, I think those tables are good for supplemental.
Okay.
And XGBA, I wouldn't. XGBA is not a separate therapy. I would just put it as maybe footnote. XGBA was started on like, yeah, it's not a main therapy. So,
Mm, okay.
and do you know when the last garden was drawn for her?
But I have to double check.
Because I think it's good to do a repeat garden to see if the P10 clone is it has disappeared or something, and then you can put the garden figure, the clonal shift in the figure as well. And if I order it next week, it will be back in like a 10 days from the time of ordering. So it will be back to reflect.
Okay, so you want us to put the figure of the garden
Yeah, the
that
clonal.
shows the okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll look into that with Eugene and I. Yeah, I think that's about it for the case report.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know you wrote when, but we don't write dates in the case reports.
Oh,
It has,
really? Okay.
yeah, it has to be from the diagnosis, 3 months after, 6 months after, responded for a few months.
Oh, okay.
But for your own reference, that's how you measure.
Maybe I'll like grade it. So like,
For actual publication, because it can be
oh,
considered as a patient identifier. They can backtrack who was a Northwestern
Oh.
female patient who got the CT scan at these dates. They can find the patient. So anything that can be identifier, you erase.
Okay. I won't erase it in this manuscript. I'll just make it gray and just leave it there just so that we understand what's going on. But I'll make it gray. So like before submitting it, we'll just like erase it last minute.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, you can.
And Dr. Shay, I already know you gave a comment for introduction part, but could you look it up because I don't think it will take a long. So could
So
you
it's
give?
pretty done, pretty much done.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I think I can get some more specific advice if you can look it up and work on that.
Mm-mm.
No, we're still gonna.
So the first paragraph, third line from the bottom. So patients do not harbor mutation, the tumor does. So I would say, harboring cancer. So you have to be exact because it's a patient with
True.
cancer harboring mutation. Patients do not harbor mutation if
Okay. So I feel like I can so based on what your comments, based on what you commented, I think we can pretty much cite so many, there are so many tons of researches on ATC patients with different mutations, but there is a word limit. So as of now, I think I can add a few more citation on clinical trials or other mutation.
So I think a lot of it is at discussion level. I think introduction is more like
Concise and
you know, it's a very high unmet need, and
Mhm.
we only know this, and this is what we don't know, and we need to know. That's why we are reporting this case, period. And then you take, you know, this decision trial when other people have found,
Mm.
all these details will go to
Mhm.
discussion.
Got it. Got it.
You can just say our limit, our, you know, our, there is no other approved therapy other than BRAF, you know, just the gap. There
Mhm.
hasn't been, you know, and there's only limited, and you can still cite saying that there's limited evidence of mTOR pathway being a target for
ATC.
ATC, and you can cite any publications about it and then discuss the actual detail in the
In the
discussion.
discussion. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
And review related literature.
We will go through it again and then come back to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a limited data on using. I mean, I don't think there is any data about temsirolimus nivolumab.
Right. Right.
It's something that I created. Uh, I don't think no one has ever used it before.
Yeah.
So
I
you write it that there's a limited data. So it's almost it's almost like
First trial or
yeah, same thing with surfing the temsirolimus. Those are like all these details can go to discussion, and the point is we could describe the concept that we are, you know, there has been people are now beginning to do research on combination of targeted therapy and immunotherapy, and it remains to be seen whether this could be a valid concept in ATC treatment. Uh, uh, you know, we describe here case where combination of this and that has overcome resistance to prior immunotherapy, and patient did have actionable mutation, which was P10.
okay.
Something like that, you know,
Got
is
it.
good enough for introduction.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so it's good to ask before you actually write it, because if you write it and show me, then you're gonna have to make a major revision.
Right. Right.
That's why
I'm
we're
not.
doing this lab meeting, so that I can give you input when you have questions.
Right.
Okay.
And-
Shui, anything else?
then the review, I guess. Is my screen being shared? Okay. So we went through additional data
Mhm,
for the review. For those who don't remember it, it's a systematic review on
mhm.
the accuracy of blood-based cancer screening, looking at the general population. So we did like the searching for the journals like all over again, and then we came up with this number 1260 without including ASCO, because ASCO was a little weird and the search terms and the search, I guess, strategies. We contacted them, but we still couldn't really figure out how to effectively search for the journals we need. Um, so we'll try to figure that out during the conference week if there is a more efficient way to search for it. But for now, because this is taking way too long, this is taking longer than I expected, so I was just gonna go ahead and start reading uh the 1200 journals with the team.
So show me your keywords.
So the keywords we were using was cancer, malignancy, neoplasm, and liquid biopsy, blood-based cell-free DNA, circulating tumor DNA, uh, next generation gene sequencing, DNA methylation, and screening, detection, early diagnosis.
Hmm. The,
But they just like
uh-huh.
ASCO is not very good at using or and in their search strategy,
Mm,
which made it difficult for us to like find articles.
mm,
Uh, and they were we contacted them, and then they were telling us that some of the links they gave us for us to refer to how to make search strategies, they were actually broken links. So they are working on those. I don't know. It was a very primitive search database, which is why we had a hard time working with it. Um,
So my question is, some of the key papers that you already know,
yes.
are they all covered by this strategy?
The thing is, so if you the problem I have with ASCO is the fact that if you put A or B
Oh,
or
no,
C,
I know, not
Yeah.
about ESCO. I'm
yeah.
talking.
Yeah,
Oh,
regarding that,
about the
'cause-
other ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to read through the 1200 to like know for sure. But I thought we might just get started with the 1200 first.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the reference articles that we already know that are coming from, let's say, Cell Search,
got
Gallery.
it. I will look
know,
it up
if
right
there are
now.
Cancer Seek, there
Mhm.
are personal diagnostic. There are companies, and
Mhm.
Freenome is one of them. Freenome, Grail.
Yeah.
And then if you visit the company website, so
Yeah.
I would look at the industry first.
Okay. So
And
you mean like these?
like these companies,
Okay.
and I would go to the company homepage, and they list the abstracts and the publications if they have any, or at least abstracts, they will have some. Some companies publish, oh, this is a great, another great, so it may not be in PubMed, but it may be in the Cold Spring Harbor. Do you guys know that website?
No.
So you could publish to this website, and it what is it called?
Oh. Okay.
Anyone knows?
This?
Um, it's not their own journal, but it's the open communication, open publication. So you know how people, like, it's important to have a something printed online before actually journal can accept, because it takes so much time. Bio reserve. There's a med reserve. Med RXIV. Med reserve. MIDRXIV. MED, I'm sorry, MEDRXIV. So go to the, you can go to Wikipedia, it's okay. Yeah, go to that page, yeah, it's okay. So this is BMJ, Yale, and Cold Spring Harbor. They've made this website. It's called Preprint Server for Health Science. You can you search my name? I have few papers here. It's Che Young. So here's Dongyup Lee's paper, HLA classification. Here is Jewel Park, TMB. Here is Andrew Davis paper. Whole genome circulating tumor DNA. So this is, so let's say this, I think this you could present publish here. I almost think like, let's do this. Let's have an SOP where Minjung Kim, you can publish your, before it gets to JAMA. If JAMA is okay, you can ask the editors. Let's do this, Minjung. Email them, ask them, is it okay to send it to RXIV? Maybe they have a policy. JAMA may have a policy, but most publishers are fine because this is preprint, and this is almost like you can publish anything here. And the whole purpose is, I'm the first one who did it, like, because the review process takes too long, and they tell me to, and then in the meantime, someone else publishes first, and then you don't get any credit. You're not the first one to report this. This happens in the world of patency. So that's so I did this. So there may be, and a lot of companies like to do this because they have to show to the investors that their research is out in the public. So it could be either med RXIV, and they have bio MIBIO RXIV. So two different websites. Med is more medical, bio is more preclinical. I think both are open to any, but they're kind of sisters. So I would use the search for this for any unpublished, but some companies use it. So this is a good search engine for something that's not published. And for me to so Jewel Park's paper has not been published in any journal yet. Correct? You know, right?
Yes, as far as I know, yeah.
It's not. He worked very hard here, and it's not published because it gets rejection, and and then you get busy. So it's very hard, but at least once you're done with the project, you can upload it here, and people can read and comment about it. All the scientists in the world can read it. So this is a movement in bio. It's a bio world in medicine and biology, because let's say Minjung, if it gets to JAMA Oncology, I might have to pay $3,000 to print it, to publish it online. And a lot of companies are charging a lot of money to just publish. And a lot of them are turning into like online access model where they charge the authors, not the subscribers of the journal. So the authors are now having to pay a lot of money upfront. So right now I'm doing it out of my pocket for all the research that I do with you guys. So it costs money to do research. It's not we're getting paid by the publishers. It's the other way around. So a lot of researchers thought there is a problem in this system. We got to fix the system. Now we have to be able to publish whatever we want, and then we can get feedback from our colleagues about these articles through this mechanism. So you can put comments and in this platform. Anyway, I think this is a good movement. I think we should take advantage of it as a group from our lab. So Minjung, if JAMA Oncology is fine, you should immediately just upload what you have here so that your work is protected. Wherever you submit, it's there on its original form. You will change it according to the journal's format and say figures, but it's okay. The original work is there, and people can still refer to your work. I mean, we don't usually cite medRxiv because we still call it preprint, but still the ideas can be shared without delay, because that review process takes so long. I love the idea. So let's do it. Let's do it. Start with Minjung and any even case reports, anything coming out from our lab. I mean, we kind of did it with when Jewel was here. And then it kind of fall through the crack. So let's do it. Let's have this as a rule. Whoever writes it, just because I think all the publishers are usually okay with the preprint. But just double check, Minjung, because JAMA Oncology is a very prestigious paper. They might have a new rule or something. Because the data is out there, like you submitted to a abstract in a different scientific meetings. It's already out there, and so it doesn't make sense to prohibit that. But for Juhi, I think this is a good search engine you can use.
Okay. Is that gonna change the credibility of our article? Because they are apparently not peer-reviewed, right?
So look, can I cite preprints? What do they say?
I'm just
Yeah, go to
researching
the
but
question. Can I cite?
where oh,
Yeah. A preprint citation format that makes clear the status of work as a preprint and include STO as this is. So it's
do
kind
you
of
mind if I check? Do you have a journal in mind for the systematic review? Like, I would prefer to check it with the journal if they will take in prints reviews, because if they don't, then we'll have to start over. So that's my concern. Just because it's as you mentioned, and as they say, it's not peer reviewed. So if they don't take that journal as credible, then we'll have to do this all over again. So
yes, that's a valid point.
yeah.
So did we discuss journal in mind?
No, we didn't.
Okay. And did we discuss the title?
Yeah, we sort of did, but not really. Like the gist of the title mostly.
Okay. Systemic review of the accuracy of blood-based cancer screening in the general populations. Systemic review of the accuracy. Is accuracy a good word, or accuracy? Accuracy. I feel like you need one more word, accuracy and or applicability or something like that. Because accuracy is more like a technical aspect, but we're also going to discuss, is it ready for prime time? Almost like if this was given in a lecture, a sub quote is it ready for prime time, it would be like the and then whether it's ready for prime time, it's not just about technical accuracy, but it's also about what's the unmet need, and can the unmet need be met by utilizing this, and is it just really the general population, or should we prioritize the high risk group first? All that discussion goes into this review. So I feel like it's not just the technical. Yeah, accuracy and applicability sounds better.
Yes.
So here's, so I think this topic is very important. So you can even, so I'll give you a target journal. One, Annals of Internal Medicine. JAMA Oncology, Lancet Oncology are good. But even, yeah, those are good. Minjung, do you remember the next one I told you?
I think one was related to the NCCN.
Yeah, Journal of NCCN, JNCCN or something.
Mhm.
And then there's a JNCI, Journal of Cancer Investigation. I think before JAMA, you can JAMA Oncology, you can put JCO, just the journal JCO, Journal of Clinical Oncology. JCO, Journal of Clinical Oncology.
Okay, so what do you think about us starting with the 1200 review for now? And then I'll email these journals and ask if they will take in preprints reviews.
If they yeah, you can ask those journals, just
So we'll do like if they do, then we'll do like a second thing with preprint journals.
yeah. So if because you're gonna email them anyway, ask them
Yeah.
if they're interested in us sending them a review on this topic,
Oh,
and also ask them, do you do you accept if we include the preprints reviews that are citing preprints as well, or do you have a policy on that? Citing preprints. Yeah, we don't know unless we ask. So
okay, sounds good.
yeah, these are all very high profile journals. But they usually like these type of summary synthesis of what we already know. I can tell you once when you write it, it has to, something that's gonna be sort of like a attention grabber will be the story of Bad Blood. I don't know if you saw the movie. There's a book called Bad Blood. Minjung, do you know? Bad Blood. So what was her name? Holmes? Elizabeth Holmes was her name. You can watch a short YouTube clip about her. Elizabeth Holmes, Holmes or something. So Harvard, Stanford were and she founded this company. She claimed that a blood drop can detect all cancer in the body. And later she got like big name investors and later found out it was all scam. She was called the woman Steve Jobs because she always wore like the black turtleneck. Um, maybe cite her news story. You can do that. Like people still question whether this is um, feasible or not, and there were some hard lessons we learned through the story of a company in Bay Area. uh, so I think that could be a nice attention grabber because this review kind of some people don't think it's ready for prime time. People don't believe in the data.
You mean this citing her news story as an attention grabber for the emails, right? Not for our journal.
No, for the journal.
Oh, for the journal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
for the journal, you can do that. You can and that's what makes the review paper readable. You can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I recommend everyone to watch that YouTube. It's, there's another similar story. A Duke professor that was in 60 Minutes. His name was Anil Padi. And what you should watch that 60-minute Anil Padi, and he did the RNA-based individualized cancer trial. And one of my mentors at MD Anderson in biostatistics department discovered that was a hoax. That was a scam. And he even claimed that he was a Cambridge scholar or something. And the whole trial was a scam, and he was let go of his position, and patients sued him because they were on like the clinical trials. And it was just very ugly story. I, as a fellow, like a resident, I applied for Duke fellowship, Hemong fellowship. So I went there and I interviewed with him. So I personally know that guy. But what a story. It's just mind-blowing that people would do such thing, but it's also like we should be very careful in how we process data, because what happened with the Duke data was that it was in an Excel file, and it was just like a one cell shift. So everything was different for patient data. And they treated patients based on that wrong one cell shifted Excel file. And then knowing that, that guy refused to change anything. So if you find your flaw, you got to change it, admit it. Anyway, I just know a lot of those stories, dark side. Anyway, yeah.
So
Go.
coming back to the review, so yesterday so Shaw, Arnie, Eugene, and I got together, and then we did the whole, we downloaded the EndNote, and then we divided up the reading stuff. So yeah, so we will get it started today, and our deadline for now is this weekend to early next week for the title and abstract
Yeah.
screening. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then full text will start it off, or we can start, I prefer to start off the full text after we are able to get together after
Yeah.
the conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So while you're doing that, Chuhi, as the lead of this project, I think what's equally important is to visit all the company homepage and make sure their abstracts are all covered in this search strategy. That's number one. Number two, look hard for any similar reviews, any similar commentaries. And then what you need to do is look at all the references in that commentary and review. Make sure none of those are missing in our strategy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how you start. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. So
All right.
that's where we are.
Super.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm glad you're sort of asking these questions during the meeting. So good, good. Strong work. Eugene, but let's take 10-minute bathroom break. Okay. All right.
What Arnie and Shah would do during the conference. So I just got the data from Yunho and Stas. So I just want to touch base on that data and just clarify your expectations for them regarding the data. Yeah, let me share my screen. So Arnie and Sha, this is the data I got from the previous researcher like Hansan and Yunho.
Yeah.
So there are a bunch of like sheets, but so doctors say you want them to verify or have a second look on the data, especially focusing on the resist evaluation, right?
Yeah, just resist.
Just resist,
Nothing else.
nothing else. Okay. So
The
for
only
me,
thing the only thing they need is the patient name and date of birth and a MRN.
MRN is here.
Yeah. But it will be good if they can, I mean, they can get the whole thing, whole data. It's okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I will
But-
give them whole data.
So for Arnie and Janera, my expectation is that over next 2 weeks, how many patient is this? How many patient?
How many patients in this sheet?
Yeah,
Let me see. 227.
okay. And are there is like hyperprogression or response data? Is there stable disease?
So here you can see the column named HPD status. I'm
Yeah,
not sure,
that's hyperprogression. But does it say anything else?
but it's blank. So maybe I can ask
Why
Yunoli.
why is it F like? Because that's the most important column.
Right. But doctors say like if you see the bottom line,
Yeah.
there are other sheets.
Mhm.
And for HP, I think this sheet has the core data. So it only has 33 patients,
Okay.
but here I think I can find information about the hyperprogression. Yeah, progression data is here. So progression, it's marked as yes or no. But I think those are selected for only yes.
Okay.
So you want to take a look at all data in this sheet, right? For 200, above 200 patients, or do you want them to look at only selected patients?
Do you have UNO's abstract? Did he look at
UNOS abstract. Yeah, I think I can find it soon.
so the first question is in the real world, in our
Mhm.
clinic, what is the hyperprogression incidence? So in order to know your incidence, you have to know everybody's resist response.
Okay, then
So I don't know what his denominator was. Was it 230 or did it what was I
let
don't
me check that. And then, okay. So if he saw like 200, more than 200, like the basically whole patient, you want to look at whole patients and then
yeah.
what if, okay.
So maybe ask Yuno to do a
Mhm.
Zoom meeting with Arnie
Mm,
and Janera. I
okay.
want him to explain this to them.
Mhm. Okay, got it. And then other than this data, there's also data from Stas shared from Stas.
Mhm.
You want that data to be involved in this process, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let me just briefly pull up that one. So here it's the data shared from Stas. And if you look at, he already collected the information about for 43 patients, and me and Arnie and Sha would fill in the rest of the patient data. And for these patients, you want us to like compile all the patient data into one file.
So that's
It's from
that's yeah, that's
Yeah.
the Tempest patient who also have Gardent,
Oh, okay.
and they're all lung cancer patients.
Yeah, they are all long. I'm not sure he wrote down about the garden data, but so you want to select patients from here with the criteria that they have garden data, right? If there is a garden data, then you want to make them also be in the UNO's patient list, right? Or but as of now, I can't find any garden data in this sheet.
So what I remember is he had about 100 patients with Gardent and Tempest.
Garden and Tempest.
When I say Gardent, it doesn't necessarily mean there is a Gardent data in there. He found patients who had both Tempest and Gardent done.
Okay.
So that's 100 patient, and he
Mhm.
had 200 patient data where he had only Tempest data but no Gardent data.
Oh, I see. I think this is what he's talking about. So it has 200 patients or more than 200, about
Yeah,
300.
yeah.
Okay, then I'll ask him again about the data with patients who have both Gardent and Tempest, and then I'll incorporate that list into the UNO's
어,
like original data.
네. 저희 이거 미팅 끝나고요. 네. 제가 11시 네, 기다리세요. We have a visitor.
Yeah.
So let me say we need to look all of them, but we need to say so let's prioritize
Mhm.
the UNOS file first. And then in the meantime,
Mhm.
we need a resist evaluation for, let's say, for that 300 patients as well. But I don't think we have the time. I think we can prioritize the
Mhm.
first one where there's Garden and Tempest. I think there's going to be significant overlap with UNOS data,
Mhm.
and stats is the first 100 patients.
Okay.
So if we can find, if we can streamline the process of getting rid of the duplicates,
Mhm.
that's the first step. Okay.
Okay.
We'll get to the 200 patients later when we have more time. But I think writing UNO's paper is the first priority.
Mhm.
So here's the order we're gonna do. In that 100 Tempest patients,
Mhm.
find out who they are,
Okay.
who those patients are, because
Mhm.
there's only accession number,
Right, right.
birth, and initial. So you have to search. The
Mhm.
way to search it is in the Epic, you have to put I think provider, as if there are 4 thoracic medical oncologists.
Right.
So start with myself and put other thoracic providers, and that way you could find some names are unique. One birthday and initial would be enough to find the patient. So you
Oh, yeah.
I
Once
see.
you find the patient, look at the UNOS list and see if they are already there.
Oh, I get.
Then you can say that it's a duplicate and it's there. But if it's not there, you should, have them as a separate list.
Okay.
I think, let's say, UNO's list has 200, this one has 100. If you get rid of the duplicates, let's say 250 in total, something like that, with close to 300, let's say. Then you got the final list. Once you got the list, divide your list, 150, 150 each. And then
Okay.
you have 2 weeks, so you know how many patients you need to do it in a day. Okay, and give your time to, some will be very easy, but it's not 1 scan per patient, it's 3 scans per patient. So I want you to develop a way to be efficient. How do you, I would start at looking at the official report first, because they would put measurement there. Okay, and start with because it's two lesion per organ. And some lesions are not measurable. It's just the thickening of the pleura. Then it's non-measurable lesion. So there is a Excel file prototype. How you actually do resist measurement.
Yeah, Doc.
I will forward
Actually,
the Excel file to you. I will forward you the Excel file where actually I do the clinical trial. Our radiologist report that in that format. So you should just follow that example. I will forward it to you, Eugene, so that you can forward it to all the other lab members. Yuri is our radiologist collaborator who does that. So I'll send you the few examples. You just follow that. So every patient would have their own Excel file, but it will be just the different sheets inside the Excel file. That's how you do it.
Yeah. So because they are gonna work on this, they're gonna working on this project for the entire 2 weeks. I think it's safe to set up all the things before we leave, and then let
Of
them know
course.
about
Of
what.
course. Let me
Yeah.
share a screen. I want to show you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, Doc, because previously actually Minjun like contact me and told me like about the measurement about the resist criteria, because she said that we should ask like the specific measurement to the resist criteria. That's why. That's what I want to ask actually
Yeah, you
previously.
have to ask. So here you can see the baseline, follow up the dates, and here is the measurement. This is a reference, like you should go to the image number. This is the section number. And then there they measured the diameter here. You can see. And what they actually measured in the index target lesion. There's a non-index non-target lesion. Effusion is, you just record it. It's there. Axillary lymph nodes at baseline was measured 10. So what's measured? This is non-target. Although you measured it, if the lymph node is less than 15 millimeters, you don't consider it target. Okay. Although you measure it, you don't. So only 21 gets to the actual tumor, some of the largest diameter. So see, and then after treatment, it became what? 12. Some of the diameters became 12. So you calculate the burden change, which is 42%, which meets the definition of PR. Okay. So you have tumor burden decreasing right here. I mean, you don't have to make this graph. Only thing we need is 3 dates before treatment, at treatment, on treatment. Okay, we just need that to say this compared to this will tell you the first growth rate, and this compared to this will tell you the second growth rate. Okay, so you don't need to keep doing it. Only thing you need is one at diagnosis, one before diagnosis, one after diagnosis on treatment. That's how you get the first growth rate and the second growth rate. And this is how you do the resist measurement. You have to classify target and non-target, otherwise you'll be confused.
Doc, for the on treatment one, if there is like two CT scan, which one like we choose for the on treatment one, like the recent one or like the previous one? If we have like 2 or 3 in the on treatment one.
I'll leave it up to you. Whatever gives you a better, it's all common sense that, you know, yeah, there's no rule. There's no rule. It's because the growth rate will be divided by the time period. So if you
Okay.
have, but if you had a scan 2 days ago, it doesn't make sense to include that. Like if it was like 2 months ago, 1 month ago, it makes sense to include that one. So and then if you really think about it and, you know, talk amongst yourself, Janera and Arnie, and then the only reason you guys are, one of the reasons you guys are doing it, because you guys are going to be, you know, in lab full time without going to clinic, without going to the meetings. So I think it will be a good time to start it. And then also for Janera, it will be, you know, hard to start and finish one research project. So this is, you know, a great time to actually do like hands-on research with clinical data. So I think it will be a great opportunity for you, and I will forward this email to Eugene so that you can forward it to other lab members who will be involved.
Thank you so much, doctor.
Thank you. So yeah, I will set the patient list as soon as possible and then give it to the Shah and Arnie so that they can divide and then work on it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that get the final list, divide and conquer, and you're gonna have a lot of questions come up. So talk amongst yourself. You can talk to Iser, you can talk to me or ask Eugene.
Mhm.
I'm available still, so we can do a quick, and you can do like we can do a quick. You guys all have Messenger, so in the Messenger there's a video chat, and then you can show us the film, and then I don't know where to measure or like any questions, save it, and then like we can do a troubleshooting calls anytime during my travel. Okay, I'm always gonna be available.
Okay. So regarding this project, can I ask a so Dr. Shay, what time interval you consider is the least required at like to evaluate the response of treatment? So I mean, what's the minimum time interval you require for evaluating the
Response?
treatment effect? Yeah.
Yeah,
1 month or
yeah, 1 month,
okay,
4 weeks.
4
If it's
weeks.
less than 4 weeks, I wouldn't exclude it. If someone gets the next scan in 3 weeks, was
Mhm.
like exploding, cancer was exploding and died, I would
Mhm.
still include that patient. So, you know,
True, true. It depends on in
Yeah.
general, like 1 month is required.
yeah, because it will be divided by 3 weeks time anyway.
Okay, yeah, got it. And yeah, this is what I most want to discuss in this lab meeting. Other than this, like, I haven't done much for my own projects. I'm sorry, but
That's okay. That's same with any manager. There's a lot to take care of.
yeah, but I try to keep track on the project that I have to do, and I want to ask your opinion on the reaching out to sales search company.
Yeah.
So you want me to prepare some documents? Would it be better in the form of tape, or do you want me to make a decent like Word like document to before reaching out to them? Like, so
No,
like,
no.
no, okay.
After this,
Just to
let's just send out email to them. Let's do it together.
just email.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll just set up a meeting and then
And then
we'll
we can prepare something.
just like we did with gallery. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it.
I think we should reach out now so
Mhm.
that we can have a meeting set up once we're back from, and we can also request a meeting during AACR. So it could be an in-person meeting.
Oh, that sounds pretty interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
then I'll
it-
just send the email today to
Yeah.
Cell Search. Yeah, company. But I'm not sure. So can I CC you
Yeah.
with my, oh,
See every communication.
okay. And for my other projects, I will ask other lab members help. And yeah, I'll make sure that I can bring up with some tangible things by next lab meeting or next lab meeting. So for me, like transfusion review that I'm doing with Seokju Cho, as soon as I finalize my table 4, just summarizing the current evidence on cancer incidence and on transfusion, I think we can submit that. And for the review, the other meta-analysis, I'm still on the step of searching material research, material articles. So that's where I am now. And I'm updating the protocol. And for case report, Albert Curie, I think I can ask some help from like Sha.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the rule in my lab. I keep it pretty open. So we have lab meeting together. So if you feel like, well, there's a project that I really want to learn and I want to help, reach out to that person. You don't need my permission, and you can help that person. And it's the leader of the project who will determine whether your amount of the help you provided enough for you to be co-author or in the acknowledgement. I will also help determine that as well. But that's how we credit people. But sometimes you don't need the credit. You want to be involved and learn what's going on, and that might be enough. So I am pretty open about collaborating among our lab members. So feel free to do that, but always be aware that I'm pretty clear about my expectation. I want you to do this by this deadline, and that's your main project. And that's how I evaluate you guys on any about your academic rigor and responsibility. But you're outside that, you're always welcome to collaborate and be acknowledged in any other format. And that will definitely help your CV and your future career, that you've been exposed to many different type of research and you collaborated with many different project leaders. And I think that will go a long way as well. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, that's it for now.
Okay, so let's talk about your protocol and cell search after we are finish our lab meeting. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. Arnie or Junaira, any questions or comments? I know you guys are just starting.
No, I think it's quite clear about the patients. I think it's quite after the lab meeting is quite clear what should we do in the next week for the conference. We will try to work on the list from and also like trying the research criteria and collecting the data for this week. So after that we can present something for the next lab meeting.
Yeah, so for both of you, Junaira and Arnie, read Minjung's paper. That's That's very important for you to get motivated, understand the project, and then have a lab and have a meeting with her, ask her questions. And then the Friday Zoom meeting will be important, and also have a Zoom meeting with He'll tell you what he did and the structure of the data, what's in there. But your main role is to have the RECIST evaluation done and calculate the tumor growth rate and define hyperprogression according to different definitions. And different definitions will be explained by Min-Jung Kim. But it's a sophisticated work and it requires a good clinical insight. You have to be able to understand how patient was treated, how patient responded, and you have to have a background knowledge of anatomy, okay? You have to know what tumor looks like. If I have undergrad do this, they measure uterus and say that's tumor, okay? They don't know what uterus is, what it looks like. So it requires a good clinical insight, okay? And sometimes you don't know what's pneumonia and what's lung cancer. So you need certain clinical insight to be able to do projects like this. So I only have MDs who have clinical experience do these type of projects. Okay. All right. So anything else before we wrap up?
No, thank you so much, doctor. If there's any question, I will put it in the group when you're in conference.
All right. Super.
Thank
So
you,
yeah,
everybody.
we'll have next meeting in 2 weeks from now. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Bye-bye.